Are you hearing the music all right? Fatherfish. Not really. Come in and look around. 55s. Yeah. Hi there. Yeah. Okay. Hey. Well, what's going on here?
Good morning, everyone.
Cutting the top of my head off. Hi there, Joey. How are you?
Well, mine needs to be kind of cut off too, but that's okay. We don't need the top of my hair, so we're good. Well, Lori had just said your audio was good, so maybe they were hearing the music fine. But anyway, we're through the music, and here we are. Hello, everyone in the shoal. Good morning. Good morning, Fatherfish.
Hello, Joey.
Would you like to say some hellos?
I would indeed. Red Eye Aquatics. Don't know Red Eye Aquatics? Welcome, welcome. Stephen Cooper, Monster Fish Gal. My mouse. Karuna Karan. Lee Wilcox, TJ's New Life. Tisha, hello Tisha. There's that Trick Farm, look at that right there. And Monster Fish Gal, Lori. Hello girls. Hans Aquarium, hello Hans. Patrick Paulson, well, goodness sakes. Nice to see you, Patrick. You want to take over? I'm going to adjust my other monitor.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we've got Broadcast Illusions, Fish and Tactics, Lee Wilcox, Holly Gibbs, Roman's here. I'm scrolling. They were chatty this morning. So I'm having to scroll down.
They certainly were, weren't they?
Yeah, Xanadu, good morning. I think you already said hi, Tisha. And then Marky's here. Scrolling, Fox. I don't know, I already said that. Yep, you're down to Patrick's. Hans is here. TJ's New Life. Michelle. Joan, Oreo, Papa Shrimp, Tree 77, Vinoxky Tanks is here, Greg the Guppy Guy, Jay Olivers. I think you said Lori Monster Fish Guy was here. And hopefully I didn't miss anybody. I was scrolling pretty fast.
Well, this is weird.
Anyway, welcome everyone. What's weird? What's going on now?
I'm getting no chat on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. I have it.
Well, I've got it on this
StreamYard.
I don't know. Madness.
Sometimes if you click out and go back in.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Good morning, the bird dude. Yeah. Sometimes occasionally that'll happen to me when I first get in. Tony P, good morning. And yeah, hit the like button as you come in. That would be wonderful.
There we go. The bird.
And as we've been trying to do, we're trying to stay. Good morning, Chevy Fish and Tam. So we're trying to stay as close to the bottom as we can to the chat. So if anyone has a question, if they could put it in now.
Just gave the bird dude just turned blue.
Okay, cool.
Been here before.
There you go. Cold in Indiana, huh, Tam? I haven't even checked that temperature here, but the sun's out here. Nice blue sky. I'm sure it's fairly cold. Yeah, 19 degrees. Not too bad. Not too bad. So,
all right. What's going
how
on?
are you doing? Well, we don't have any. Oh, it's 9 there, Chevy Fish. We don't have any big questions. Good morning, P. Montano, Joe Merchant. I'm just waiting on questions to come in. I don't really see anything quite yet, so you can talk about whatever
Tam
you want to.
Shepard,
Really
-2 at Tam
going on.
Shepard's. Anna Robinson.
Cold.
Cody.
Montreal's cold. Yep. Good morning, Steph.
All right.
Zero says finally above zero here in Minnesota. Barely and snowing lightly, but just ordered 12 Ember Tetras, 12 Rummy Nose Tetras, and 18 Phoenix Raspberries, and 9 Spotted Cory Cats. Well, that'll be a nice fish order.
Make it happen. You see, make it happen. I panicked and emptied the water out of my tank.
I do.
Thought the gravel was too sharp and would burst my tank. What were you on when you did that? And what had you ingested just prior to that? Goodness sakes. Oh dear. Yeah, well, we do recommend sand rather than gravel.
Unfortunately, you could have gone right over the gravel with your sand. You didn't have to empty it. Now they're sticking up for themselves. They said they were quite tired when they made that decision.
Yeah, I saw that.
But
right.
Yeah, you could have unfortunately just capped it with sand and saved yourself some panic and work.
I didn't see a previous comment, so I don't know what brought that madness on.
Just that that was what they're dealing with at this point. Good morning, Odessa.
Let me recommend something here. Inevitably, there comes an event that with a fish tank that absolutely freaks you out. Something absolutely dreadful happens, and it creates an immediate panic. Let me recommend to you that when that happens, you sit down, take a couple of deep breaths, look at it, and think. You don't need to do that for more than a minute. And one more minute is not going to make things worse than they already are. Not significantly. Obviously, if a tank is leaking, then you need to catch the water, presumably, and keep it off the floor. That's pretty obvious. But if you've got something drastically wrong in the tank, fish are dying, figure out first what's causing it before you just jump in and start doing things. You can trust your initial reaction. It's probably on balance best to do that. But as you are doing that, continue to think about it and continue to try to understand what's really going on. There are times when I've had catastrophes and I've acted doing what I thought was right and then realized later it wasn't at all. And it was because I acted in a panic and did things quickly without really thinking through the consequences of what I was doing. Once I slowed down and was able to kind of figure things out, I shifted gears. I remember one time I looked in the tank and it was a 200-gallon tank and I had about 20 big fish in it, mostly frontosa cichlids, 6, 8, 10 inches, big ones. and they were all hovering at the top, not moving, just in place, which was odd behavior. So I looked, I went over, I put my hand in the water. It was hot. I looked and I had a heat sensor in the tank, a wire sensor that came off of a little device that was hooked up to the heater, a switching device, and that had fallen out of the tank. So the heater, which was a 400-watt heater, was just blasting out full tilt, and it had heated the water up really high. Well, once I realized what was happening, I started pulling fish out and throwing them into a colder tank. I went in and got some ice and I dropped it in. And I lost all of the fish. I believe if I had simply turned the heater off and let it come down normally, I probably would have saved the fish. Now, maybe not. Maybe they were too far and gone, but they were not belly up. And throwing them, shocking them into that cold water, I think really did more harm than good. And it wasn't cold. I mean, I put them in 80-degree water, but it was about a 20-degree drop. They were in 100-degree water. They may not have survived anyway. But in my panic, I did something that was not a smart thing to do. Had I simply turned the heater off or removed it from the tank and let the tank come down gradually, I could have put some ice in it or colder water and dropped it a little more quickly. But I didn't do that. I ripped them out and threw them in something else. Um, that was my instant reaction. That was my panic reaction. My panic reaction, I believe, in retrospect, it was not one I'll do again. I mean, there was a bad lesson. They were valuable fish, and they're all gone. There's another thing, though, and this happened more recently. I tend to take such a casual attitude toward things now that I let them go beyond the point of rescue. And I did that a few days ago in a 55-gallon tank. I noticed that we're breaking everything down. So, it was not unusual to see water on the floor. But then I noticed it kept coming. It was just, there was obviously something wrong. So I disconnected the overflow system and I watched it. And the one of the tanks dropped down lower than the others. And I thought, okay, that's the problem tank. It was late in the afternoon. I didn't do anything about it. The next morning I came in, the tank was dry, no water in it at all. It had completely drained out. Fortunately, Betsy came in, saw it, and pulled a bunch of the fish out. She didn't get them all, but she got the main ones. It had my my rhinos in it, or buffalo heads rather, and the crevenzas. She missed some of the crevenzas, but I believe she got all of the buffalo heads. Had I dealt with it when I saw and realized what the problem was and pulled the fish out, I would have saved them. The reason I did not is because my experience is that, oh, well, it's not going to go dry. That won't happen. But it did happen. There was a crack in the bottom of the tank and all the water drained out. So you can go the other way too and be too casual about it and not do anything. So I don't know what those two lessons are worth to you. And I'm not sure I know what they're worth to me, except that I should act what I should act, and I should not act what I should not act. So there you have it.
All right. So I have a quick little statement, and then I'm going to go into a question. T. Montano says that they've been eating the mint out of the fish tank. So I've been eating the mint plant, washed it first, still alive, and then they said that the plants that they grow in the dirty tank, they're eating the mint. We were talking about it yesterday, so I thought I'd just throw in the statement. Eating the
Funny.
mint. They're still here today because she's in the chat. So, and Red Eye Aquatics says, can you talk a little bit about how to propagate plants? I don't know where to trim them, specifically water sprite and bacopa.
Well, that's interesting. Those are two plants that I do not trim. They're two very different kinds of plants. So I do not trim them for two very different reasons. Let's start with the water sprite. Water sprite, as opposed to water wisteria, multiplies by division at a much more alarming rate, shall we say, than water wisteria. Water wisteria pretty well maintains its stem nature. Water sprite, on the other hand, will grow new plants off of the edge of a leaf. I mean, it propagates from its every pore. Usually what I will do is I will plant a water sprite sprig and let it grow up. It'll grow long stems, thick stems, and come to the top. Once it reaches the top, then it begins to spread out. It begins to cover the surface. When it does that, it'll begin to develop new little plantlets. Little plants will begin to grow off of the edges of the leaves or um, they'll grow them off the leaves. And it'll send down roots. You can remove those new rooted plants. They'll get actually quite big, and put them in another tank. Start a new population with them. It's a plant that grows like wild. It's a great beginner plant because it's almost impossible to kill it. Now, it does grow better in hard water than soft water, which leads me to believe it's one of the brackish water plants. A lot of plants are brackish. They don't do well in salt acid water. They do much better in the hard alkaline water. Virtually all of the native plants, of which bacopa is one. So let's talk about bacopa. Bacopa is a stem plant. It grows in a long stem. It can divide and grow a double stem. My landlord's on the phone. I'm going to call him back. I'll do that later. It grows on a stem. It may divide. But what it's trying to do is it's trying to get to the top so it can come out of the water because it wants to be able to flower, and it cannot flower in the water. So once they reach the top, if you're equipped to be able to do it, give them a chance to grow out of the water where they will bloom. They have a really pretty little flower. The bacopa will not come up real high. It's not like a Ludwigia that'll grow twice as big out of the water as in the water. It'll come up to the top, it'll bloom, and it won't come more than an inch or two above the water level. It tends not to do that. Um, Basically, I don't trim either of those plants, but then I don't trim much anyway. I kind of let things go until they reach the point where I need to adapt them to something where they have changed their character, or where something has happened that has crowded the tank out. And what I'll do at that case is I'll start moving them to other tanks. I'll use them in other tanks as a way of getting growth. But I don't get concerned about excessive growth of plants in fish tanks. What I've noticed is that they'll reach a level and they'll stop continuing to grow. Once they kind of max out in a given tank, it'll pretty well stay that way. It won't get thicker and thicker and thicker to the point where you won't have any water left in the tank. In the wild, plants grow in ponds, shallow ponds. We see it down here in Florida all the time. They trap dirt, they trap detritus, and the detritus, the substrate, rises. It gets thicker and thicker over the years until it becomes a bog, until there really is more marshland than water. And so the plants cause that, but they do it over an extended period of time by growing up out of the water and growing thicker and capturing more waste matter, dying, growing up again to the point where the pond will disappear and it'll become just bogland, just plants. What else you got?
Well, I do have a question, but my first thing is, on my end, there's a bad lag on you. I don't know if there's a lag for them or if it's just on my end. If it's just on my end, I'll deal with it. If it's on your end, I'm wondering if you should drop off and come back. Can somebody tell us quickly before I go to the next question?
Yeah, does anyone is anyone picking up a lag between us?
Right. I'm also seeing the lag between your voice and you talking.
Huh. No, Mark
there's
says,
no lag. Okay, so it's
yeah,
just on
Lord
my end.
Dunlop says no.
Okay, so it's just on my end.
Isn't that
Okay.
interesting?
All right, so I will just I'll try to not talk over you. Okay, so I'm going to give you the question. It's from Ladessa. It's a long one. So I have set up I have planted for Daphnia. One 10-gallon tank, two 1-gallon bowls. All three are being fed air from a single nano air pump via air valve control. Each one has grocery store shrimp to start the nitrogen cycle, a rock from an established aquarium, hornwort, and some ceramic biomedia. Is there anything else I can do to help their nitrogen?
Yeah, put some dirt in the tank. Potting soil will do just fine. You're growing Daphne, so you want to be able to, you want to have a lot of nitrates and phosphates in the water column so that you can get algae growing, particularly green water. Set the containers outdoors where they'll get direct sunlight. Put a handful of dirt in each of them. And I don't know where you're getting your starter culture, but you're going to need to get Daphne as a starter culture. It's not going to grow in there spontaneously. So you can collect from an existing pond and probably be able to find some. You might collect some leaf litter or surface mold from a pond and put it in there. That'll bring not only Daphne but lots of other stuff in too. And then if you need to separate the Daphne, you can do it with a fine mesh filter screen that'll filter out the Daphne and leave the paramecium behind, and then set up another culture and put that pure Daphne in. It's pretty easy to get it going, but you got to get a starter culture, and you need more nutrition in there. The shrimp, the dead shrimp is not going to be sufficient. Dirt will help a great deal.
Okay. So Team Montana is saying, she'd like to show off the mint. And I mean, you do that on Saturday and Sunday night. You have people come
Yeah,
up
we
and
can
show
do
things,
that.
correct?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so that would be great. And then Barb, and I believe you know Barb, wondering why my water sprite does not grow. I have hard Florida water.
I don't know, Barb. I've had water sprite's funny stuff. I grow it sometimes like weeds, and other times it doesn't grow at all. Um, Try some variation with it. It's going to pull a lot of its nutrition out of the water. So you know, try um, try some variations. See if you can get it going in. Try it in soft water. I mean, try variations.
It doesn't like a lot of water movement.
That's true.
I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, still water works best.
If
I
you
come
have
up
that.
really well in vegetables.
Right.
Yeah. I've
Exactly,
had that
because it's not moving.
where you
Right.
can't grow it, and the tank next door will grow it like a weed. So I don't know why that happens. I do know it happens.
Yeah, it does. So Johannes has a question about beneficial bacteria. Does most of it live in the filters, or is it the substrate? Where is it mostly at?
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Right.
It's not mostly in any one place. Bacteria grows in the water column and on every surface, and it'll grow deep in the substrate. If you have a sponge filter, it'll grow throughout that sponge filter. Driftwood rocks, it grows on surfaces, hard surfaces. If you have porous surfaces, it'll grow into the pores. So it literally grows everywhere.
Absolutely. We have a new person in here. Socom Tron says, "Good morning. I appreciate all the knowledge you are passing along, and I was wondering if you had any advice for avoiding and fixing pest infestations in a fish room. Thanks."
What kind of infestation?
They say pest infestations in a fish room. I'm not sure if they're.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of pest. There are a lot of
Right,
different
I'm
kinds
not
of
sure if they're
pests.
talking about pests in the room or in your
In the tank,
tank.
in the room, yeah.
Sorry.
You need a little
Right.
clarification there.
I'm yeah. Just let us
Where
know
is
what pests you're trying
where
to
is
get
that
rid of.
located? Oh, here it is.
That
I
is at
got it.
928.
Yeah, I got it. Pest infestations in a fish room.
Right.
Yeah, tell us what the problem is.
Right. Be a little more specific. Reese says, I have to share my excitement this morning. I've been waiting for a good deal on a larger tank to pop up, and today was the day. I'm on my way to pick up a 175. Needs a resale, but only $50. Awesome. I do
Well,
that.
that's a deal.
A little bit of work, but worth it.
SOCOM says roaches.
Roaches. Okay, roaches.
Well, that's interesting. I have been. Oh, world's smallest fish room just gave us a
Yeah.
super
Thank you,
chat.
Johan.
Thank you so much. Right along, videos coming. Yeah, as soon as I get the shop broken down, I'll be able to get out and do some field trips.
Yeah.
I can't do anything right now. I need to take a break. I'm sorry. Can you carry on for a minute? I won't.
Okay.
Won't be more. Won't be more than a minute.
Yep. Do you want me to talk about roaches?
Yeah, if you want to talk about roaches. I just lost my screen.
My one experience with roaches. It was years ago. But my one experience with roaches, and it was actually in my fish store. I had gotten a fish shipment in from New York, and I ended up with roaches. And I used those little combat things that you just sit down and they pass through it and die. That's what I used, and that stuff it was a miracle worker. I mean, and other than that, I don't know what to tell you. He may have something that's not poisonous, but that worked for me. I mean, we had so many roaches, it was insane, and it was almost an overnight fix. But after that, I just kept them out in the store just in case. And I'm just gonna say a few hellos because there's been so many people come in, and we're gonna miss everybody. But I see Mike's Aquarium, and Howard came in, Dave B, Falconry Fun, Darius, and Reese with the fish tank find, which is awesome. MFT, Mark, you're asking if there's an earthquake in Florida. I don't know. I'm from Maine, so we'll see what Father Fish says. Oh, you're joking. Okay, we bumped into the screen. Okay. He bumped into the screen, obviously. Good morning, Craig, or afternoon, or evening. Sorry, Craig. Hi. Yeah, we'll see if he can do some wrenches when he gets back, Lee.
Oh.
We'll see what he says about that. No, when he comes back, I just read your question.
Yeah.
So anyway,
You're going to
yeah,
be
that was
stuck
my
couple more
one
days.
experience with roaches. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I tried a few things. I put those things out. I came in the next day, and all the roaches were laying on their back with their feet up, dead. It was awesome. Yes, I do.
Well,
I do.
I lost my phone. Here it is.
Advice on raising fry. I keep mine at 80 degrees. I feed them multiple times a day. Water changes. That's about it. Just your adorable things that you would do to raise fry. Oh, it's 1:33 a.m. Okay, Craig, so you're up late. You just hatched some. Okay, baby brine shrimp. Actually, what I do the first couple days on goldfish fry is I feed them microworms the first usually 2 days. And the reason I do that is because they all develop at a different stage of when their mouths develop and they can eat. So I put the microworms in because they don't die in the water column and they don't foul the tank. So I do microworms. You can do them 2-3 days, and then I move on to baby brine shrimp that I hatch every day, and I feed them that until they're able to take some other food, which could be anywhere from a 2 to 3 week period. And then I continue to feed brine shrimp until they're not interested in it, but I do start them on that 15 granules and so that's how I do it. But just feed small amounts. Don't pile up your water. Make sure your water changes. You should be good. How's it going?
The losing my mind. I don't know.
Well, aren't we all? Anyway.
I
All right,
can't
so
say
I
here.
answered the roach question with the one roach product I have used in the past.
Um, one of the things that I found works really well in a fish room, if you can do it, is to release a frog or two.
Oh, see, I knew we'd have a natural way to do it.
Yeah, white's tree frogs are good. Toads, if you find toads outside and you don't mind having them in your fish room, bring them in your fish room. They will survive without having to be in water, and they're great roachers. They do a really good job. Frogs are a big help, and they're natural in a fish room. Frogs, they can now toads can't hop. Pardon me. Toads can not hop around. Other frogs like tree frogs, white's tree frogs, those kinds of frogs can hop around. So they can get to water. They can actually get to your tank. Um, we found a tomato frog the other day that in the process of cleaning up that's been living in the shop for years. I don't know how many years. It's been years since I had tomato frogs. So it's been there for a long, long time, 3 or 4 years. So they'll live a long time in your fish room. They will find food. They'll control bugs. They do a really good job. Spiders as well, any kind of bug. I recommend frogs if you can tolerate having them. They work really, really well.
Well, my fish room's in my house, so I'm not doing any toads and frogs. So I'll go the other route.
Yeah, that can be a problem if you have a fish.
But
Well,
somebody
they
else
said fish
like
room. There, specifically said fish room. So
you did.
that's fish room advice.
I'm sitting here with my big eyes going, yeah, I can imagine if I release some frogs. Well, I don't have any roaches, but yeah, I'm going to release some frogs in here to do.
Well, now
Anyway.
what you could do is you could release a tokay gecko or a house gecko. The house gecko you
Well,
probably never see. There are other kinds of geckos that only come out at night. They hide during the day. The
yeah.
Cuban gecko, for example.
Where Dunlap said he lived in Florida and his house came with geckos.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure I'm sure they do. Good morning, Aquatic Nest.
Yeah, they're
Um,
pretty easy to keep alive, and they do. If you got a bug infestation, there are lots of little things you can turn loose. We had a rat problem in the shop, and we turned a couple of corn snakes loose in there, and the rat problem disappeared. And we never saw the snakes. They're still in there somewhere hiding.
uh, yeah. I'll go with my poison. but everybody has a different way.
Yeah, we're done. I figured out how to deal with a neighbor's cat. I see. That's pretty good.
I haven't made it that far yet because I stopped on a couple, questions. But I think Johan's is just wondering. He could see that you got some subscribers.
Let's see. What do we got here? Aquarium. We got people in. We got people in here. There's aquarium. Here's.
Hi, Lee. Good morning, boys.
Found them.
Joey.
Right.
Hello,
friends.
Hello, aquarium cop. How are you? Aquarium butt, he says. Nice to see you guys.
Cop.
Yeah,
Lou?
we're getting feedback, yes.
Lou,
Yes.
Joey, and my beloved brother, Lee.
Good morning.
I can't believe it. I can't believe this, Jim. Hello. I love you.
There are people that pass by in your life that you love. And I'm down with this right now.
And that's you, mate.
100%.
Very
Well,
very
amen, and you too.
How are you?
I'm all right.
You're okay. Good to hear. I only see you in the chat a little bit. Usually saying goodbye.
Yeah. I'm
So I
always
never know if you're
lurking.
really there or not.
I'm always lurking.
You're always lurking? Okay.
100%.
All right. Well, it's nice to hear your voice.
But mate, Joey,
We don't hear from you much.
where's your mug?
Mine's at the shop. Oh, I'm getting new mugs.
Oh, my mug,
the new
Aquarium
mugs.
Cup, is right here. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is compliments of Aquarium Cup, everyone. He bought me this mug from Fatherfish.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right.
And Curly Bunny loves Joey so much.
She does? Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I love her. She's so cute. Love her. I don't see her much. And Lee's sporting his Fatherfish mug.
Well, we work for the public, and
Yeah.
when the day is over,
It's over. I gotcha. Well, thank you for all that you both do.
All right. Is there any feedback from me? Is it from Lee, or is it what's going down?
I don't think it's from you. I don't know who it's from.
It's from one of you. I can't tell.
I can't hear nothing. I can't hear anything.
I'm gonna blame Lee.
It's me, is it?
Good idea.
Okay, that's what I usually do. I usually blame Lee.
Hello. Have I got feedback?
Yeah, Aquarium Cup, I think it's you. I just unmuted him, but he muted himself. Unmute. There we go. Yeah, I think it's you, Cop.
Oh, jeez. Really?
I think so.
I have nothing on.
Oh, I'm getting feedback.
Fatherfish. He's gone. Oh.
Fatherfish is frozen now.
Fatherfish has fallen asleep again, the old fart. It's all right, he didn't hear that.
Quick question.
I got away with that. He can't hear me. His lines.
So Bert, Bert, dude, just because it'd be quicker for me to answer it. these are common. These are single-tail goldfish. So I specifically breed single-tail goldfish. Some are prettier than others, but that's what I breed. I know sometimes it's hard to tell, but these are comets and shubbunkins behind me.
Yes, Lee.
On fish,
Yes,
would you be kind enough to give out a wrench today, please? From
certainly.
Yes.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Oh, thank you so much. He's a fellow Brit,
Compliments
or
of
she, I don't know, he or she, lives in Archway where Chloe lived when
Got
we
it.
were there, and nice person, good chat, and I think it'd be nice to have a wrench for them, please, today, and then I'll go, An aquarium car. Ah, you're my hero. You're one of my
Lee.
heroes. You're one of my heroes. One of my heroes.
Lee,
Can't believe I'm talking to you, Cop. I can't believe it.
Lee,
What?
do you know how much I love you?
Yeah, you love me loads, don't you? Because everyone does.
No.
Yeah, what's the spell?
We are the same person, you nut job.
I'm into that.
Love you loads, Cop. Love you loads, Cop, and you know it. And there's nothing you can do about it.
I'm trying to
Bye.
figure out the volume on my end.
Bye.
That's better.
Am I echoing? Is it bad?
No, it's better.
All right, can I butt in here for a second?
No.
No.
Tam would like to know how to order a mug. You need to send Fatherfish $25 on PayPal. I believe
No.
that's correct, right?
Yeah,
Tell him you would like to get a mug.
Cop.
So make a payment,
Right.
a $25 payment through PayPal.
I was
That's how you
listening.
get a
It was
mug.
another woman going
And tell
blah,
him it's
blah,
for
blah,
Monster fish.
Otherwise, he'll think you're just
I love you all.
For it, Monster. This is hopeless.
Yes, thank you, Lori.
Thank you,
Thank you,
psycho.
Love you, Cop.
I'm not going nowhere. I got
Good,
shit to
okay.
say.
All
I'm
right,
just-
go
Oh,
for
leave
it.
it.
I'm just
Leave
trying.
it. Bye, Lee.
I'm just trying to figure out what to mute.
You're
Yeah,
okay
you
now.
You definitely have feedback, Grandpa.
Dude, Joe,
Okay.
I'm getting,
1, 2, 3, 4,
Joey.
5.
No, you're okay with me. I'm getting feedback from Joey and from myself.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I don't know what's going on.
Now, I'm getting feedback. Oh. With Joey muted, I'm still getting feedback.
1, 2, 3, 4,
I
5.
have it muted.
No, I did. Yeah, I'm still getting feedback.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Let me.
Well, I thought when you and I were on before, I thought you had feedback.
I'm not getting it now. I'm getting it from. No, it's coming from Cop.
3.
It's coming from
That's what I
Cop.
thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all right. We just get to hear you twice as much. It's wonderful.
No, but I want to correct it. 1, 2, 3.
I'm not getting
Mr.
it.
Manifesto thinks that feedback is from.
It's
Mr.
from
Manifesto
your.
thinks that the feedback is from Fatherfish picking up your audio.
1, 2, 3.
It's the reverse. Aquarium Cop is picking up our audio, and that's what's repeating.
Right.
He needs head.
So
1,
what do
2,
you have
3.
running?
1, 2, 3.
Yes, Langan, you're right. Don't use table salt. I don't know what the question is. Obviously, I've lost track, but you're correct. Don't use table salt.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, you're right, Johan. So when we talk, the feedback comes through Cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm having, on top of everything else, I'm having router problems. Seems better now somehow.
Hello?
Yeah,
I think it's
hi.
because we all stopped.
Right. I
If we
think
don't
you're
talk,
right.
it's great. If we're silent, it's great.
Oh my.
Uh,
Master Fleck. Hello, hello.
Fatherfish.
Yes, sir.
Master Bless.
I'm always in your live streams listening. Anyway, something somebody said the other day, and I just want to say something. Is that all right?
Yeah, please.
But I want to tell a story. And you're going to appreciate this because, like you said, everybody watches YouTube, everybody appreciate, like all the big YouTubers, etc. Right?
Sure.
All right. I've been keeping fish for 51. Oh my god. I- I'm stopping myself from cursing. 51 effing years, okay?
Yeah.
My grandparents on my mother's side, my grandparents on my father's side kept fish. My mother and my father kept fish. All right? So I know what I'm talking about, but I don't know how to explain it. And that's why I love you because you know how to explain it. All right.
Huh.
The tank with the steel sides and the slate bottom and blah blah. People don't even know why the tanks were slated bottom, but I do, and I'm not gonna tell you. You can tell people because there were no heaters. There was radiators in your house, and slate holds heat.
That's right.
So, and anyway, whatever was going on the other day in your live stream, people were like, oh, I got black beard allergy. And you nailed it. It's pump it up with the substrate, put plants in there. Yeah. But when I was a kid, we didn't have plants, bro. Okay.
Right.
So, and we didn't do water changes. We didn't do gravel vacuuming, right?
Right.
And whatever. 47 years later, 3 years ago, I had black beard allergy in my tank and I watched a video. So this is the error I made. Okay. So I was like, oh my God, I got plants in my tank for the first time in 47 years, right? And black beard algae grew. And I was like, I wasn't looking at it like, oh, this is gross. I was looking at it like, oh my God, this is going to kill my fish. So I went online on YouTube, right? And people were like, oh, just spray peroxide, right? Wait.
Yeah, I
It might
know.
work in some cases, but I'm going to tell you my mistake. So I ran around the house. Blah, blah. I got a bottle, right? I had peroxide. I grabbed Glass Plus. I took the thing fit on the peroxide bottle, right? I
Oh
washed
my
it out,
God.
etc. My fault, 100% transparency, we would call it. Um, I sprayed the thing, but there was still ammonia in the tube from
Right.
the Glass Plus bottle, and it
Yeah.
killed everything. The
Yeah.
fish, the snails, the plants. Horrible.
Oh
So
yeah.
if anybody wants to do peroxide, make sure you buy a brand new, clean, healthy
Ah,
spray bottle and put peroxide in it. So that was my bad story.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I, ridiculous? Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, glass cleaner's bad stuff.
Yeah, so yes,
Yeah.
I did kill fish once in my life by that stupid thing.
Amazing.
My mistake, by the way, my mistake. It wasn't the
Yeah,
peroxide.
yeah,
It was the bottle I used, and there was ammonia in, glass in that tube.
Yep, doesn't take much.
Yep.
But, as we were saying, we learn from our mistakes. You won't do that
Yes.
again.
Yes. Look, like I said,
We
51,
definitely
50,
learned.
51 years in it, and I made a mistake 3 years ago. I was like, oh, I'm such an idiot.
Yeah.
I know.
It happens.
I know.
We all make mistakes. We all
Right.
make mistakes. But thank you for
The only
sharing that.
The only
Nice
mistake.
having you here, Tom.
The only mistake in this stream is Lee.
Oh well.
He's a bad boy. Put him in a naughty corner.
Yeah. He's
I love you guys. I just wanted to say that.
Love you too.
Love you
was-
too.
It was
say
something
hi
you were
to
talking
everybody.
about 2 days ago. It was something you were talking about 2 days ago, and I was like, I want to say it, but I was driving. I couldn't comment.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah. Love you. Take care.
Love you too.
Thank you, Tom.
Love Curly Bunny.
Bye.
Fatherfish.
Yes.
We have a question at 9:44 from JBV.
Okay.
It says, help, my veil-tailed betta has dropsy. Noticed yesterday. Separated him to a 6-liter tank with a few floating wisteria plants, sponge filter, and it's 28. Yeah, I'm not doing the translation on the degree, but
I got it.
I got stuck on that one. Added a teaspoon of kitchen salt, no choice.
If you get on Discord, Stephen is over there, and they are going through a long, protracted discussion on dropsy in bettas. You'll be able to get a lot of information. And basically what Stephen is saying is that it's caused by organ failure. You can try to use a very fine needle to remove the fluid. There's a better than 75% chance the fish is going to die from that, and 100% chance it's going to die from the organ failure. So it's dropsy is essentially not curable. It's caused by organ failure, and there's no way to treat that condition. You can feed garlic. Garlic will get an antibacterial in the gut. If it's purely bacterial, that can help. There's not much beyond that, but go on to Discord. There's a lot of conversation going on there right now about dropsy, and I'm sure you'll get some help. You can also post pictures there and be able to discuss specifically what's happening with your fish.
And yes, Johan, when the dropsy finally gets to that almost final stage, yes, their scales stand out. Some people come up pine coning, yeah.
Right.
And Fatherfish is right. There's virtually no recovering from that. They get to that point.
Yeah, and it's not excuse me, it's typically not caused by anything the hobbyist has done wrong. It's a genetic problem that results in organ failure.
And then you could get into all the breeding practices, but there's no point going there.
Right.
But yeah, unfortunately, he's right. You know, a lot of it is out of your control as the hobbyist. You just try to deal with it the best you can. But eventually, that fish will pine cone, and it will stop eating, and it will probably pass. Yes, I mean, well, it will pass when it gets to that stage. But recovering, from dropsy, I've never heard of it. Anybody really saving a fish? Have you?
No, short term you can remove the fluid, but the fluid will build back up. The
Yeah.
only thing you can cure is internal bacterial infection,
Correct.
and that will cause bloating. And again, if you feed some garlic, they'll eat it if it's fine enough. That can kill the bacteria. But
Yeah,
it's
but like
pretty
you
well
said,
a terminal condition. Yeah.
yeah, I say it's two different
Chevy,
things. The bacteria is different from the organ failure.
Chevy may have a curative for it. Chevy, what do you do about dropsy?
Good morning, Brianne. Like you said, I mean, if you're getting to liver and kidney failure, so that's.
Yeah.
That's different than, as you said, bacteria infection or internal parasite.
Book
Two different
bottom
things.
sounds, main cause of dropsy, genetic or bacterial infection. The bacterial
So definitely
infection
feed them.
can cause organ failure as well.
Yep.
Word Dunlap is saying using
my experience with
fish for 50
bettas
years.
in general is the same as
We
anything.
always had time. He says, "Are you on Mars?" It's a matter of what shop. It's a matter of the shop. The shop that I dealt with never had plants.
Some
They
didn't
just
carry.
didn't do it. They had fish,
Right.
but they never carried plants. Today, most shops will carry plants. They rarely know how to deal with them. They'll jam them all into one tank and try to sell them before they die. So you never get really decent plants that way.
Right. Well, there's Chevy's answer. So
What
sorry. She just says, "So sorry, I dispatched the fish."
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, that's pretty much where you're at. But I just want to say, as a preventative, like as you say with everything, bettas, don't overfeed them. You can overfeed a betta very easily. And
that can cause dropsy, sure enough. Any kind of
strain. Say, and that'll do it. Yeah.
You put strain on the organs. Yeah, you put strain on the organs by overfeeding them.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's my suggestion.
My constant critique about overfeeding is really for the health of the fish as well as the health of the tank. The less you give fish to eat, the more they will scavenge in the tank looking for tiny little meals. And they will survive better on those tiny little meals than on filling up on the grain that you're feeding them. it's very, very
Yeah.
difficult to get food that has any real food value. Most of the food produced has fillers in it, and those fillers have no food value. They're cornmeal or wheat meal or some other kind of grain which is not a natural food for fish, and one that they do not have the enzymes to be able to digest. So it can block their gut. It can cause all kinds of internal problems. And if they're able to pass it, it will foul the water. So, I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but if you're feeding a prepared canned fish food, it's probably doing your fish more harm than good. There are a few rare exceptions, but they are a few rare exceptions. And no, I'm not going to name names. Work it out yourself. Read the the contents.
Read your
Find
list.
out what kind of food you're feeding.
Yeah. But that I would say that for anybody moving forward, it's very easy to overfeed your bettas. Be very careful because this happens. It almost happens overnight. So good morning,
Broadcast
Catfish
illusions.
Terry.
Hello,
And Lucky
Catfish.
Turkey. Yes.
Broadcast illusions. My cider water has a high
Yeah.
pH, pH, and KH. I'm hoping to keep German Rams, but I've read they don't tolerate high pH. They do tolerate high pH. It depends on where you get them from. If you're getting Florida Rams, they are grown out and have been for generations in hard alkaline water, and they do very, very well in hard alkaline water. Find out where they come from. Find out who's breeding them, where the breeders are, and what the water condition is at the breeder's farm. Again, Florida Rams will do very well in hard alkaline water.
And JBV, you may not have overfed your betta. It's just that's a very common problem with them. And it could, you're talking about stress, but it could just be that this betta, the genetics on it, it was predisposed to a problem. I mean, that happens, and it's not anything you did. Sometimes
Yeah, that's right. It's absolutely right. And when you
kind of like
mix in,
we're predisposed for things. Eventually, it may happen in our bodies. We were great when we were 30, and something pops up when you're 60. It's the same type of thing. It's in your genetics.
it goes away when you turn 80.
But I'm just warning in general to people. Bettas are very susceptible to being overfed, and as you said, feeding foods that aren't, basically insect based. That's what they live on. They're not going to do well with a veggie pellet. It's just not going to work. They'll eat it, but they get nothing out of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, and there was another question. Like I just made my chat go away. Yeah, you got the broadcast illusions.
Oreo feeds them into life. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Lucky Berry says, Fatherfish, I bought a Bolivian ram for my LFS. I'm keeping it in a heavily planted dirty tank, pH 7.6, 78 degrees. And it's eating baby brine. Are there any early signs of parasites?
No. No
Is that
early
warm enough for
signs.
Bolivian ram? Yeah.
No, there are no early signs. It,
Right.
if you've got parasites, it's going to show up when it's really impacting the fish's behavior strongly. Again, garlic works really well as a prophylactic.
Right.
You can feed garlic. You can feed a little tiny bit of it every week, every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
If the fish has bacteria or other parasites in the gut, it will it will it can help overcome them. Grandfather used to keep fish. He's 92. I remember he once said, mix some raw chicken with garlic and a little bit of salt. Grind it down, freeze it in cubes, and feed. What a great formula. Great
That
formula.
sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, raw chicken, right. Raw chicken, garlic, yeah, or raw fish. Raw fish would be even better than raw chicken, but raw chicken's good. Uh, birds are a major food source in river systems all around the world. Master
Fatherfish.
Black wants to know if there's any chance of adding parasites when adding scuds. It's
Right.
possible, but the kind of parasites that you're going to add are visible. They will be, for example, dragonfly larvae. There'll be something big enough for you to be able to see. You're not going to introduce
Yeah.
lice. You're not going to introduce a gut parasite because those are either on the fish or in the mud. Here's the other thing. And I've got to get this new video out because it goes into this issue in a lot more detail. When you're improving and increasing the biodiversity in your tank, you're creating an environment that controls parasites and other dangerous pathogens. By not increasing the biodiversity, you're creating an environment that allows pathogens and parasites to flourish. So the greater the biodiversity, the better the control you have over things you really don't want in the tank. It keeps them at a manageable level, I guess is the best way to say it.
Okay. I'm touching back on those rams for a second.
Yeah.
Are the Bolivians as temperature sensitive as the others? Like they were keeping them at 78. Do they have to be as warm or not for Bolivian rams?
They're not.
Okay, I was just wondering. Master Black says, I've read some parasite called, and I'm not even quite sure how to pronounce this. You see
Where
it at
are
1013? 1013, Master Black says, I've read about a parasite called, and I'm not even going to attempt it. And I'm scared a little. Have you heard of that parasite? Can you see it?
Acanthocephala. Yeah, it's a parasite that attacks the brain of the fish. I would not lose any sleep over it. You're not going to know you have it. You're not going to know. You may know if you have it. You won't know if the fish has it. You can overdiagnose for something like that, and there's virtually nothing you can do about it if it gets it. It's rare. Again, the best protection for any of these kinds of dread conditions is to increase the diversity of life in your system. The popular wisdom is to do quite the opposite, to try to keep everything sterile. That's a fool's errand. You cannot do it. It cannot be done. You may get perfect sterility one day, and the next day something has exploded in that tank and the water looks like milk. Don't try to go in that direction. You will fail. Go in the direction of increasing diversity. That provides protection. That's the way nature works, by increasing diversity, not by decreasing it.
Okay. The Derman says, I'm having issues with my angelfish dying off. I've had them for over a year. Water parameters are perfect. Temp is 79. They're not eating, acting funny, then dying.
Why don't you get on Discord and talk to Stephen about it? It's going to take some diagnosis to
Right.
determine what that is. It's not going to be anything obvious. Stephen will be able to help you with that, I'm sure. Just go on to Discord. He's there most all the time. He's there throughout the day. Just post your concern to him, and he'll be happy to work with you on it.
Well, Master Black, it sounds like you're doing great. If you're full of plants and shrimp and fish and everything's going great, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Go with it. Be happy. We can all look for trouble. I'm sure I could get on the internet and decide I have some fatal disease after I read. So we got to be careful what we overload our mind.
Donald Drew
It's true. You can go on and pick it and think you're in horrible shape.
Donald Drew's talking about a UV sterilizer.
Hi, Amanda.
Generally speaking, a UV sterilizer is counterintuitive. The problem with the UV sterilizer is that it pumps water past a bulb that emits UV radiation. The effect of that radiation is to kill everything that's in the water that goes past the bulb. So what you're trying to create with the UV sterilizer is sterile water. We just talked about that. You can use it for a time. It'll work for a time. If the bulb burns out, you're going to wind up with a mess on your hands. I would rather increase the biological diversity than I would decrease it. I have used UV sterilizers. They do a good job of clearing up green water or getting rid of something that's clouding the tank, a biological something. But there's always a price to pay. And the price to pay is it's creating a lot of dead matter. So you have to assess whether you want all that dead matter in there. You want all of that stuff alive, or do you want it all dead? Because if it's dead, it's going to grow more bacteria, and you'll wind up with bacteria monoculture. There are people who buy them, people who believe in them, people who use them. I don't recommend it because I do recommend biodiversity. So it's a completely different approach. It's really the opposite approach. Good mother is here. My goodness, nice to see you,
Good
Amanda.
morning, Miss.
Amanda's been having all
Thank you.
kinds of issues. All kinds of, that's not her. That's Monster Fishy. I'll posting her. Good mother is in
No,
the
she's
middle
here.
of the floor. Oh, she is here. Oh, she got her
Fatherfish
power.
is here. Yeah, she's
Wonderful.
here. Yeah,
Amanda
so
got her.
she. Yeah.
She's been out of power for 2 days. Nice to see you back. I'm glad you're okay. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully everything's okay. I know being without power is not fun
No, well,
in any direction.
we exchanged a few messages, and she was basically sleeping it off, so and staying warm with her dogs. So that was it.
There you go.
She's got 2 big dogs there. Beautiful
Oh
dogs.
yeah,
Excellent.
Don
Excellent.
at MTS said, oh, he just said, I used a UV sterilizer twice and wholeheartedly agree, not recommended. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It just depends on the direction you want to go in.
Right. Oh, she doesn't have any
She
power
still
yet.
has no power.
Yeah, permanently. Have been
Hibernated, right?
hibernating. Hey, Kenny. And hi, Misfit.
Thank you.
Donald,
Thank you, Miss Smith.
John.
Hey,
There's
Kenny.
new people. Oh, thank you, Misfit. Good morning, Ian. So, anyway, I don't have any more questions right here, Fatherfish. I don't think.
All right, we're down to about 10:30. I think we're going to lock it up.
Yeah.
We're doing okay. Good to see you all. All the folks who just stopped in. Nice to see you. Good to have you.
Emily, Steve.
We
Hi,
started.
Emily. She says no power and water there in Houston. Sorry.
Okay. We start at 9 in the morning. We run through until 10:30 to 11, depending on the conversation. I've got to get over to the shop. We're trying to get things cleaned out. We've reached the level now where it's become hard work. All the fun stuff is done. And now it's just 2 weeks of drudge getting it done. So thank you all for plugging in. I'm not going to try to do music because it's not working well on this system. Once I get moved over here, I'll have better equipment. We'll be able to do better with it. So bless you all for now. Bye, everybody. Nice to have you with us. Try to catch us at 9 in the morning.
Thank you, Susan, for coming in. And thank you, Lori and Chevy Fish, for being here, and the hellos and dropping all the links. And anyone else who dropped links and helping out, because I know there were a few. I think Karuna Karen. And thank you all for helping. We appreciate it.
Yes, and we're hoping to get this lag problem we've got dealt with.
Yeah.
We will find a way. Meanwhile,
otherwise I said you're just gonna do the show by yourself.
I know.
It's not great, and we know it. So thanks for sticking with us, guys.
Bye for now.
Have a good